Well, Merry Christmas to our viewers in Nigeria and across the world. Lunchtime Politics begins right now. President Bola Tinubu acknowledges the sacrifices being made by Nigerians as a result of government policies, as it gives assurances of a new dawn of prosperity, peace and progress. River State Governor Fubara commits to the resolutions of the peace agreement brokered by the president, says it is not as bad as people are making it out to be. A Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka, visits President Tinubu, presents what he calls 7-point agenda, as he recalls how he tried to persuade President Tinubu not to run for office because of his age. But while we're expecting the jollof rice, let's serve you with lunchtime politics stories, beginning with President Bola Tinubu's assurance of his administration's determination to ease the burden on most Nigerians as the nation continues on her path of economic recovery. This was contained in the president's Christmas message, where he appreciates the sacrifices made by Nigerians due to the implementation of some reforms. The president expressed his confidence that the sacrifices will birth a more prosperous and peaceful nation for all. He solicits support for Nigerians, or in fact support of Nigerians, to achieve the vision of a new dawn of prosperity, peace and progress which he has for the country. And the statement reads in part, "Fellow Nigerians, as we navigate this transition to stability, prosperity and renewed hope, I urge you once more to hold fast and rest assured of my commitment to govern with vision, dedication and empathy." President Tinubu felicitates with Nigerian Christians on the occasion of Christmas and reminds Nigerians that apart from merrymaking, Christmas is also a time to look out for each other, especially as many are going through one challenge or the other. The president also called for prayers for officers of the military and their families. In the meantime, the president of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, is also calling on Nigerians to remain steadfast and hopeful regardless of the hard times which they are experiencing. Senator Akpabio, who stated this in his Christmas message, says he's optimistic that the challenges Nigerians are going through following the series of socio-economic reforms will produce the desired positive results. In a statement by Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Mr. Eseme Ibo, the Senate President calls for deep reflection on the teachings of Jesus Christ, which are anchored on love for neighbor, peaceful coexistence, and loyalty to democratic authority. Now, while the Tinubu government may have an 8-point agenda which it is running with, Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka says he has discussed a 7-point agenda with President Bola Tinubu regarding issues which he wants to be addressed by this administration. He was speaking with journalists after meeting with President Tinubu in Lagos, whom he said he went to visit for the Christmas holiday. He also disclosed his practice of not criticizing governments before they exhaust their first year in office, saying he will be prepared to make clear his observations after his administration completes 1 year in office. He also spoke about how he had tried to persuade the president from running for office earlier on.
When I visited him the last time, it was to try and persuade him not to run for office. I think I've written about that. I told Atiku and himself that they should please leave the grounds for young people. That's the last time we met, about 5 years ago. And I call him secretly Olori Kunkun, the stubborn man. So he ignored my advice completely. So I came to see how he was doing after neglecting my advice. Wanted to see if both he and his wife were weathering Nigeria as well as can be expected, and to wish them a happy Christmas. He's an old friend, as you know very well. And it was as a friend that I told him, don't run, leave this thing alone. But he ignored me. Most heads of state, when they take office, I always leave them alone for about the first year. I don't know if you've seen that, if you've noticed that. Because they need, I know when they come in, they don't start from ground zero. They often start even lower than ground zero, and they have to make up. So I have this personal policy, whether it's Obasanjo or Buhari or Jonathan. You'll notice that during the first year, I hardly ever say anything. And then people will ask me, why I not talk? I say, go and ask the last person whether I spoke during the first year. So I'm adopting the same principle this year. I came here with a 7-point agenda, and we had a very thorough discussion on those items.
And more Christmas messages, this time from the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Siminalayi Fubara, who is using the occasion to assure residents of his commitment to the peace and security of the state. Mr. Fubara also commits to the implementation of the 8-point presidential peace agreement on the political crisis in the state. He, however, assured that the agreement will be implemented in a way that will not compromise the collective interests of the people and their democratic values.
Most heartily thank all the good people of Rivers State and all men and women of goodwill, even those beyond our shore, for the massive love and support we have received and continuously to enjoy before and during the recent travail that challenged the peace of our state and stability of our government. Let me also use this opportunity to express our profound gratitude to our dear President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, His Excellency the President, Asuwaji Bola Tinubu, GCFR, for weathering into near-crisis situation that almost punctuated the prevailing peace in our dear state. Indeed, by this singular effort, our dear President has demonstrated that he loved Rivers State and cherished nothing short of a reign of perfect peace in our states with his presidential peace proclamation on the 18th of December 2023. Mr. President Peace Proclamation has naturally elicited mixed reaction from our people and across the country. As a principal participant in the entire saga, I have taken some time to study the terms therein and have come to the conclusion that the peace pact is not as bad as it might be portrayed by those genuinely opposed to it. It is certainly not a death sentence. It affords some way towards a lasting peace and stability in our dear states. Accordingly, I reaffirm my acceptance of the Presidential Peace Proclamation and my commitment to implementing both the spirit and the letter of the declaration in such a way and manner that will restore political stability to our dear state without compromising the collective interests of our people and our cherished and shared democratic value.
Meanwhile, his predecessor and the FCT minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, who is one of the key players in the Rivers political situation, is blaming Governor Fubara for the escalation of the conflict between them. The minister, who was speaking at a function in Port Harcourt, the state capital, accuses the governor of failing to abide by the resolutions reached with the president. He also faulted the narrative that the crisis had any ethnic coloration. He was speaking earlier on in the state.
Some of you do not even know that Mr. President had invited us privately and said, do this, do this, do this, do this. And you agreed before Mr. President. And you didn't do it. And President has now invited, okay, the larger states come. We must tell our people the simple truth. I've done my own part, and I'm happy, and I'm doing well in Abuja too.
However, elder statesman Chief Edwin Clark has another view to the political situation, and for him, the Rivers State governor, if he fails to fulfill the content of the presidential truce agreement, he has nothing to lose. Chief Clark said in the spirit of the Constitution, the governor is independent of the president and does not have to take orders from him. He was speaking on our political program, Sunday Politics.
Nothing would happen to him. Nothing happened to our president when he was governor of Lagos State, when he disagreed with Obasanjo. Obasanjo was president of Nigeria from 1999 to 2007. Mr. President is our president today. What happened to him in 2003 also should not happen to Fubara. As you ask, Fubara will remain the governor of Rivers State. We demanded the people and we perform his duties in accordance with the mandate given to him by the people. And Mr. President should take him as one of his sons. Because to do otherwise would be laying down a very dangerous precedent, which people would soon feel that President may become a dictator, which would do, he is a Democrat. He should not do anything that will give a wrong impression. He has so much to do. He should concentrate on those things, not to tamper with the mandate of a state governor.
Well, let's get into our discussion now. On the occasion of Christmas, which saw the entry of a youngling, Jesus Christ, who came to save humanity and change the fate of mankind, we today are borrowing that analogy for our discussion as we speak with young Nigerians who have ventured into politics and governance. The big question is, will they be Nigeria's savior in the area of governance and politics, perhaps just like Jesus Christ? Well, two of them join us on the program this afternoon as we take a look at their journey through politics, what stands out for them, what they offer, and of course, the prospects. Rukayat Shitu is a member of Kwara State House of Assembly. She will be joining us via Zoom from Kwara State on the program, as well as Mohammed Oyanki, who is the Deputy Speaker of the Nasarawa State House of Assembly. He joins us live from our Abuja studio. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on Lunchtime Politics, and let me just say Merry Christmas to both of you.
Thank you very much. To you too.
Right, so let me begin with you, Rukayat, Honorable Rukayat. And I know that all eyes will be on young people in governance first, because you are what people will describe as outliers, so to speak, and also because it's expected that with the age you bring in fresh ideas as the verve, energy, and the rest. But about 6-7 months into governance, how much have you achieved? How has it been so far?
Thank you very much. Good morning. If I can say, I should say it has been amazing and quite very impressive, because so far, at least this is our 7 months. Yeah, if I'm correct. The journey has been a bit hectic, although we are pushing it, because the responsibility comes with a huge challenge. So one needs to face this and accept whatever it comes with. So from there, and I'm not only there just as a bench warmer, we've been able to do so many things on the assembly, and also at the constituency.
Interestingly, Kwara State has the highest number of young female legislators. It's a very interesting combination, not just young, but even female legislators. Yes, the figure is more telling for females, but it looks like it's even much better. So before I come to Mohammed in our Abuja studio, I'd just like to ask particularly, how much have you been able to achieve on the floor of the House as someone in government in this past 7 months? Speak to specifics if you can.
Basically now I'm working on a bill that's drug abuse content, the regulation for drug abuse content on social media. We are working on it, and some other bill like Electricity Act bill, which we are working on. And there are several motions which I have contributed. And in this coming year, I've had a lineup of series of motions to the sponsor on the floor.
All right, so let me come to Honorable Mohammed Oyaki in our Abuja studio. And same question essentially. I think you even also set a record and one of the youngest deputy speakers in the history of State Assembly in Nasarawa State now. So essentially, you are one of the people blazing the trail, and that's for Honorable Mohammed in our Abuja studio. So speak to us. 7 months. How has it been so far? How much would you say you've been able to achieve as Deputy Speaker, that is?
Yes. Good morning, and thank you very much for having me. Let me correct you. I'm not just the youngest legislator in Nasarawa State or the youngest deputy speaker in Nasarawa State. In Nigeria, I'm the youngest lawmaker in Nigeria and the youngest ever deputy speaker in the history of Nigeria.
Okay, we'll take all of that.
Back to business. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, power is given to whom God wishes and when He wishes. Assembly started with a little fracas. Initially, after the first communique from the governor, after the first proclamation, 2 speakers and 2 deputy speakers emerged. We had a little tussle, and destiny was delayed, not denied. And eventually, just last month, destiny was confirmed. I emerged deputy speaker. But to your question, what have I been able to achieve as the deputy speaker of Nasarawa State? Oh, I will tell you quite a lot. From my constituency, Duma North constituency, and Nasarawa State at large. Let me take Duma North constituency. As I speak to you right now, over 10 different streets in Duma local government are currently being graded now. They will be graded. Drainages will be created, because one of the major problems I have in my constituency is the issue of gully erosion. So we intend to do that. And the power outbreak in Doma, we had a power shortage for over 3 months, even before my emergence as deputy speaker. And from my personal savings and the little connections I had, I was able to bring back light in Doma North. There is light now in Doma local government as I speak to you, and a lot of other things we intend to do. I intend to build boreholes across the community. I'm currently renovating 2 clinics in the remotest areas of Doma North constituency, because I believe dividends of democracy is what to speak to me. As a young man, I've found myself here. If I am not able to show anything for, then it's a disgrace to the Youth Assembly. And then back in the Harlow Chambers, what have I been able to do as the youngest legislator, as a young man? Like I've rightly said, destiny has been delayed, not denied. When I mean destiny has been delayed, not denied, I once emerged as a deputy speaker, politics happened, and then I am here again. On the floor of the House, I have contributed immensely. I'm not just a bench warmer. Especially on the bill on regulation of creation of primary, secondary, and tertiary education. Private schools are just being created, no regulation, no due process. I co-sponsored the bill that has passed first reading and will be passing the second reading, inshallah, after the new year. So a lot of other motions have been brought during the deliberations. Sometimes on the floor of the House, it is not you bringing a bill. It is what you contribute in the passage of those bills. Petitions are brought, how you contribute to them, what solutions you prefer. Now, I am now an assistant presiding officer. I will not be doing much of the talking. And we all know legislative proceedings are 3 things. As a lawmaker, I have 3 responsibilities: passage of law, oversight, and representation. On the oversight, I have done so much on the oversight. We have one of the best oversight functions in the whole of the country. I happen to be a member of the Committee of Works.
So, Honorable Anyaki, I know you can go on and on, really, about how much you've done, and it's understandable. The fact that you're 26 years old does not take away the major fact, which is 27. You're a politician. Oh, 27 now. So I imagine you just clocked 27 recently?
Yes.
When was that?
21st of June.
All right, in June.
After my elections. I won my elections at 26.
Oh, what a perfect birthday present that will be. But I want us to compare notes, really. And I know a lot of young people are watching. A lot of them have probably tried to get into politics. It didn't quite work out for them. For majority of them, they are not even thinking about it because they're trying to still get their lives together. And I'd like to begin with Honorable Rukayat Shitu. A lot of us outside of governance look at government people at the different levels and we ask, Governance isn't rocket science, is it? I mean, how hard is it to meet the yearnings of the people? Just basic things. And I'm glad you said you're working on a bill for electricity. I mean, Honorable Mohammed Ayaki says he's working on something for education. So these are basic things that Nigerians say government should be able to provide. They're not asking for too much. They're not asking for, space shuttles and the rest. So outside of governance, people see these things, complain, and they wonder, why does it seem so difficult? You were outside of government, now you are in government. And I imagine you probably had that perspective. Being in government, has it changed your perspective? Is governance really rocket science to provide those basic amenities for the people?
One thing is to talk is very easy. And when it gets to action, it's quite hard. Because basically, as a lawmaker, my primary assignment is to make law, do an oversight majorly. So, but there are a lot to these things. One thing I understand about this office is just one needs to be patient and one needs to be ready to take actions on things. Okay, for example, I can remember at least, I think 3 months ago, I started this market palliative to our mothers who has a small scale businesses across the constituency. I have 9 wards. But despite this, you still have some people still complain, but you are trying your own possible best, you are trying whatever you can do just to make an ends meet. But one thing is, as a human being, as God created us, we are not to be perfect, and whatever you do is not meant to be perfect. You just have to do your own best and leave the rest. So, to me, I don't really see there's a big difference between when you are outside and when you are inside, because when you are outside you can talk a lot of things, you can say this is how they're supposed to do it, this is how it's supposed to be done. Well, you are right, but when you are inside you see a lot of views to whatever actions the government is taking. You know the reason why the government is taking it. No, as a government, the government can be perfect as well. Sometimes it can be perfect, but it is just 2 ways. It can be perfect and sometimes it cannot be perfect. So that's it.
Well, the people want a near perfect government anyway, because they see the resources we have, they see monies being budgeted, they see how even government officials leave, all of the money is budgeted and the rest. So they expect that at least we should be doing fine. But is there a simple answer? And I'd like you to speak to the heart of this. Is there a simple answer? Is government hard? Is it difficult? If it is, how can we make it better or easier?
Seriously, I must be sincere. Government is hard and it's a very difficult task. It is something very, very demanding. It is something you just have to put everything that you have, that you possess inside. And one thing is, you must be genuine, you must be passionate about whatever you're doing, because once you are genuine about it, you will be able to find your way out of it. So government is hard, you must say, because for decision to be taken, it takes a lot of process. You must to look here and then, front and back, up and down. You just have to look all of these things for you to take a decision. Because even after that decision is been taken, you will still see some criticism about it, but still, we just have to be focused and be committed to the cause.
Well, Honorable Ayaki, the same question. Because we're young, we expect that you bring energy, you try to shake things up, bring in fresh ideas. So, is government or governance, is it rocket science? I don't know if you shared that opinion before you got into politics, but how can we ensure that governance delivers for the people of Nigeria who voted you and others in?
Yes, fortunately in this business, we are the youngins. Because as far as I'm concerned, when I mean business, I don't mean profit making or buying and selling. When I mean business, I mean generally the work as politicians. Government is not rocket science. Government is realistic. Government is reality. It's your ability to give people dividends of democracy from the taxes they pay, from the resources the government has. As easy as that. Let me give you a practical example in Nasarawa State. This Abuja-Nasarawa road, particularly the Mararaba axis, we have so much problem in that axis. Commuting from Lafia, coming back to Abuja, or from Abuja going back to Nasarawa. In Nasarawa State, Karu local government is one of the most booming areas, one of the highest revenue generators in Nasarawa State. But the problem we have routing Kefi Abuja axis is a serious problem. Okay, the Muhammad Buhari market has been created. It is easy for these people to go into the market and sell to congest these areas. You don't want to go in. Several efforts have been made in the past, but you don't want to go in. I choose to use this as a practical example because to show you how realistic it can be. As a lawmaker, what I have decided to do is, okay, we have the Nasarawa State Urban Development there. They are in charge of urban development. We have security agencies that are there. We have the market bureau, they are there. Before I imagine as Deputy Speaker, I was the Chairman House Committee on Capital Market, Commerce and Investment, which the market was under my ad hoc committee. So what we did was, we sat, we would discuss. Those shops, if they are not able to be accessed because of the prices, we'll bring down the prices. You will stay there for about 5-6 months. Then when you are able to stay there and you get money, you pay back to allow free flow. You understand? It requires critical thinking. If every position, today you cannot bring a commissioner of justice who is not a lawyer. You cannot bring an accountant general who is not an accountant. You cannot bring a commissioner of works who is not either an architect or an engineer. When you put the right people in the right places, government is just an administration. You oversee what happens. So if you are the governor today, alhamdulillah, you're the governor, then put the right people in the right places. Don't politicize positions. You cannot give who cannot bring back to the community. So I believe in every system of governance, if you are going to put the right people in the right places, a lot will be achieved. And you asked if governance was difficult. As far as I am concerned, anything worth doing is worth doing well. Nothing good comes easy. So yes, governance is difficult. There's so much pressure, there's so much disturbance, but you signed in for that.
Right.
So I would not say it is difficult. Something you have passion to do for, you have passion for, shouldn't be difficult. It is something when you take your time and come with a blueprint. If you come with a blueprint and you pray to God for guidance,
right,
God has given you leadership. You pray for wisdom, and I believe everything will come in easy, inshallah.
Well, quite important points you have made, but I'd like to thank you so much. By the way, we keep our eyes on both of you and others. We have 14 out of 360 at the national level for ages 25 to 35, and 92 out in the state level out of the 993 constituency. So you understand, we'll be reaching out to you from time to time. But I'd like to thank you so much, Honorable Rukayat Shitu. By the way, if you don't mind me asking, Rukayat, how old are you?
I'm not 27.
Both of you 27, interesting. Honorable Mohammed Ayanki, who's the Deputy Speaker at Nasarawa State House of Assembly. We thank you for your time. We wish you the very best, and of course we'll be here to support you for this particular business, as Honorable Ayanki called it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas to you. Well, it does appear that all is not well within the NGF, that's Nigeria Governors Forum Secretariat, as the erstwhile Director of Media and Public Affairs, Mr. Abdulrazak Barkindo, and Director General of the Forum, Mr. Asishana Okaru, are at each other's necks, with the former media director raising the alarm over allegations of financial fraud and official recklessness at the Secretariat. Well, a letter was actually addressed to the chairman of the NGF, and it contains a litany of allegations of financial misappropriations and abuse of office. It's quite a lengthy letter, and it is turning out to be quite a messy one. But this is something we're focusing on, and of course we'll be bringing you the updates as they unfold. But that's been the show for today, everyone. Yes, we do wish you a Merry Christmas, but politics never sleeps. I am Kayode Hikilu. Goodbye. God bless.